The wisdom of words often begins in silence, doesn't it? I mean, the things we carry deep within us have a peculiar way of making themselves known. Take this line from Nahj al-Balagha. Whatever is hidden in the heart spills out through the tongue and is visible in one's face. It's a truth as ancient as it is profound. Our words, even the ones spoken lightly, can act as windows into the hidden recesses of our emotions and thoughts. And here's the thing, it's not just about being deliberate with our speech. Sometimes the words we choose, or don't choose honestly, can reveal more than we intend. It's fascinating, isn't it? How language becomes more than a tool. It's like it's this living reflection of our inner world. Think about it. Literature is filled with examples of this very idea. From Shakespeare's soliloquies to modern novels, characters so often betray their hearts through their words, intentionally or not. It's something we see not only in books but in our own lives too. Words can soothe, inspire, but they can also cut too close, even when we don't mean for them to. It's as if our emotions kind of find their way out, sometimes sneaking past our better judgment. I'll share a personal story here that really made me, stop and reflect. There was this one time, not too long ago actually, when I was having a casual chat with a friend. Out of nowhere, I made this offhand comment about, feeling a little out of place in a certain situation. Something I'd meant as just small talk ended up laying bare this deeper layer of insecurity I hadn't even realised I was feeling. And the way my friend paused and looked at me, I knew they caught it. They picked up on it right away, right? And that's the beauty, and sometimes the unpredictability of honest communication. It's like our deepest truths refuse to stay buried for too long. No matter how much we try to guard them, they slip through the cracks, often in unexpected moments. So when you think about it, what we say isn't just about sharing information. It's like we're revealing parts of our soul, whether we mean to or not. But words, as revealing as they are, aren't the whole story. Sometimes it's the things we don't say, the looks we give, the tension in our faces, that truly give us away. The way someone's eyes flicker or how their smile almost disappears for a second. It's subtle, but it speaks volumes. There's a term for this, actually: microexpressions. These tiny, almost imperceptible movements in our faces that, kind of betray how we're really feeling. Researchers have found they're universal, meaning someone halfway across the world could unconsciously understand the fleeting expression of fear or joy just the same as you or I would. Isn't that fascinating? It's like humanity's unspoken language. Think of an example from your own life. Say you walk into a room and a friend gives you this quick, almost too quick glance. Maybe their smile doesn't quite reach their eyes that day. Without even hearing a word, you just know something's off. It's not magic. It's this subtle recognition of patterns, of emotions written on their face. I'll never forget a moment when this really hit home for me. I was catching up with an old friend over coffee. We were talking, surface level stuff, as people do. But then I noticed how they kept looking down, how their lips sort of tightened just for a second whenever a certain topic came up. I didn't push at first, but something in their expression stayed with me. Eventually, I asked if they were okay, and, it turned out they were going through something really heavy, something they hadn't planned to share. And all of it was written across their face before they ever said a thing. It's moments like those that remind me how much we communicate without even realising it. Our faces, they're like open books. Maybe not entirely open, but definitely not locked shut either. And in a way, that's beautiful, isn't it? That our emotions, our truths find ways to reach beyond the limits of words, carving their own paths to connection. If our words are echoes of our hearts and our expressions a window into our souls, then doesn't it make sense to start within? I mean, if authenticity is what we're after, being that person whose actions, words and emotions align, then we've got to, take a hard look at what's really in our hearts. This idea isn't new, of course. Across cultures, philosophies and spiritual teachings, there's this recurring notion: purify the heart and the rest will follow. And that journey, that internal work, it's anything but easy. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, but honestly, it's the only way to get to a place of real authenticity. You can't fake it because, as we've already talked about, the truth has a way of slipping through anyway. I came across a story once. It's stuck with me ever since. It was about this individual who, for years, struggled with being upfront about their feelings. They told themselves they were just being considerate, avoiding conflict, keeping the peace. But over time, they realized all that effort to bury their true thoughts was exhausting. It showed on their face. It came out in unintended words. They weren't fooling anyone, least of all themselves. So they began a practice, something simple. Every evening they'd sit quietly and ask themselves, was I honest today? Not just in words, but in how I felt, how I acted. And this small, consistent act of reflection, it changed everything. They started noticing the places where their words didn't match their feelings, or how their actions didn't quite align with their values. And slowly, day by day, they bridged that gap. They became someone whose inner life matched their outer expression. Not perfectly, but enough to feel at peace. Enough to connect with others in a way that was real, unguarded. So what does that look like for us? How do we step onto that path? Part of it might involve taking stock of the things we say out of habit or convenience, asking ourselves if they match what's really in our hearts. And when they don't, maybe that's a cue to pause, to listen to what's underneath. It's also about cultivating humility. There's strength in admitting when we fall short, in apologizing when our words wound or break trust. Because in that vulnerability, there's an honesty that others can feel, that they can trust. And that trust, that's what builds the kinds of deep, meaningful connections we all crave. And lastly, it's about learning to listen, not just to others, but to ourselves. When something feels off, when there's tension between what we say and what we feel, that's worth paying attention to. Those moments, uncomfortable as they are, they're invitations to grow, to align, to become both clearer and kinder in how we express ourselves. And here's the beautiful part. As we do this work, as we make room for honesty, we also create space for joy, for trust, for connection. Our words and expressions start to resonate in a way that's unmistakably genuine. And maybe, just maybe, that inspires others to do the same. So as we wrap up today, I leave you with this thought. If the heart is the starting point, then let it be a good one. Embrace its complexities, its imperfections. Because from there, everything else, your words, your actions, your relationships, can flow from a place of authenticity. And that truly is a reflection worth sharing. On that note, we've reached the end of this journey today. Thank you for listening, for exploring these ideas with me. Take care, and until next time, keep reflecting, keep connecting, and most of all, keep speaking from the soul.